Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
We are back. We are live, ready for this show with plenty to discuss, Zach. Lots in the recruiting front. Things are beginning to heat up for the 2024 football recruiting class. Plenty to discuss there. We're going to begin our series previewing each group from the football team. Obviously, we will start tonight. If you saw the little edit there at the beginning, a little thumbnail with the special teams, and we'll discuss that. And we'll kind of give you our thoughts on that and kind of positions and players who will and who will be in their roles and all those kinds of things. And so we're going to dive right into it. So just so you know, listeners, we will be going to 2 shows so we can get in all the position groups before the football season. We want to do a preview for each position group like we did last year. And so we can get that in, we will be doing 2 shows per week to make sure we can get them all in before Labor Day weekend. And that starts tonight with, obviously, the special teams. Zach, how you been doing, buddy?
Been doing good. I'm excited to kind of get back in the groove of things. It's been a good summer. A lot of great things have happened, in both of our lives over the summer. So
absolutely,
been really enjoyable summer. Taking some breaks, taking some time off from work, and I love doing TA, but every now and then it's good to just get a break, and get away and not have to worry about anything. So it was good to take a couple weeks to not really worry about anything and just enjoy life. And but I am excited to get back into the groove of things and to get back into especially LSU football now that it is here and it is thriving.
Yeah, Kevin Ray says, "What's up? What's up?" What's up to you as well, Kevin? Appreciate you joining in. And yeah, football is right around the corner. I mean, we're 3 days away. 3 days away from first NFL preseason game. I mean, it is a thriller. It's the Jets versus the Browns in the NFL preseason game, man. What a way to kick it off. But yeah, I mean, it's here. It's here. And fall camp is right around the corner. And as we mentioned, the recruiting, boy, it always picks up in July. The end of July, I mean, things heat up. And it was like that last year. It's the same this year. It's been like that for a long time. I mean, just recruiting wise, things tend to pick up right now as you move from like spring football. Then you have like summer workouts, and then summer workouts end, and like it's like full force recruiting all the way until the season starts. So lots of good news in front of in terms of Zach recruiting and all that. For us to talk about. But yeah, we had a little hiatus, a little break here and there. We still got some shows in every now and then, but it was nice to have a few breaks. And of course, we were off doing camps and whatnot. I preached camp this past week. But man, football season is a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to discussing all this because, man, it just feels like it's going to be a really fun football season. I mean, yeah. It feels like it could have some potential to be pretty awesome for the LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly,
and they've got big shoes to fill after women's basketball, and then following women's basketball. What what Jay Johnson and the baseball team did. They got some big shoes to fill. LSU sports right now is on an extreme high. You know, you're just coming off 2 national championships back to back in sports seasons. So LSU fans are excited about football and kind of wanting the same.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. I mean, second year Brian Kelly, and it just feels like you have the pieces to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, some of the pieces, which we'll you know, discuss this in depth when we get to these positions, but some of them you have the talent, but you're not sure like if it'll be there, if it'll all come together just because of transfers. You got so many of them, like in the DB room, you know, how that's all going to play out. You know, that's kind of a question mark, not in terms of talent, but like, how is it like going to work out? They're all like transfers this year. So,
new unit.
Save a few. But it's like transfers and freshmen. And I think, man, I think like LaTerrence Welch is like your main returner from like DB standpoint. Anyways, but it just feels like you have the pieces to do what you need to do. Like if the talent shows and shines in the DB room, there's not really much weakness across this football team. I mean, you're strong, I feel like, on the offensive line, and you're strong at the quarterback position. You're strong at the running back position. I mean, geez, we got like 8 running backs that we can run out there.
I told you, man, if we want to just like field a whole team from the running back room, we could.
Man, tight end. I mean, Mason Taylor had an incredible freshman year. He's coming back with experience now. You have, you know, several true freshmen, McGowan and Pimpton and Mac Markway, you know, all coming in. And, of course, the receiving core is arguably one of the best, if not the best, in the SEC. Yeah. And then the defense, you know, you have depth on the defensive line and talent on the defensive line. Mason Smith is a freaking freak, and it's going to be really awesome to have him back and healthy. The linebacking, I mean, the linebacker room, I feel like could be a huge surprise this year. I think the linebacker room might be your like star this year. I mean, Omar Speights just won the Iron Tiger Award of the summer. I mean, led the Pac-12 last year in tackles as a linebacker, all Pac-12, you know, guy. You know, I think he was like 120 tackles last season. And, of course, you have, you know, this guy named Harold Perkins. And then you add Greg Penn, who's got experience and played great last year. And, I mean, the linebacker room is solid. And then you got rotational pieces like the Weeks boys and some freshmen like Christian Braithwaite coming in. And so I'm very excited. And then you got veteran play in the safety position. Yeah. It just feels like you have pieces everywhere that if it all comes together, this could be a very special season. So I'm super excited as we start tonight talking about football and previewing it because, man, guys, I'll say it right here. It's July 31st. I mean, this is a national championship contending team. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is a potential national championship contending team. There's no question about it. And they're going to be tested early against Florida State. Tyler, what's up, man? Zach, but before we kind of dive into all the football stuff, we do need to talk about quickly, we need to talk about the latest transfer portal update. Jay Johnson still doing work this off season, you know, kind of putting the final touches on this roster. Zach, who did we add recently?
We added Luke Holman, which you know was very expected, and I think it's a great get. I mean, the pitching additions that you've made this offseason so far, and the pitching additions that you required that you thought you might lose in Nate Ackenhausen, Javen Coleman, guys like that. It's big. So that and they very well could be the strength of the team next year. That's a long ways away. We'll see. Which, by the way, we are planning on having Luke Holman on. We had to kind of nail down a few things with him over direct message with him and just discussing things with him. We're planning on having him, I would assume, next week, Reagan, or maybe this Friday potentially. We'll have to get back with him. He's on vacation right now, so had to kind of postpone a little bit and push back further than we thought we'd be able to have him on. But he will be joining us on the show here soon. Now, the other news in the transfer portal is there's still no word from Braden Montgomery, and we have
So
not
quiet.
heard.
So
It's
quiet.
been very, very quiet. You haven't heard anything. There was a little bit of some scuffling and some rumor mill whenever the news broke about Luke Holman, that LSU had another one, that LSU had another commitment that was coming. That's kind of died off a little bit, and there was some people that were hinting towards that it could be Montgomery potentially.
Wow.
If you're able to pull that off, that would be absolutely, just incredibly massive. You're talking about, LSU is going to be a team that can always potentially contend for a national championship almost every year in and year out, almost every year.
Oh, yeah.
And if you add Braden Montgomery, you are in I wouldn't say you're in the same spot you were coming into last year, obviously, because that talent, that team with that talent. But that's a team. You add Braden Montgomery, like you could contend for another national championship.
No doubt.
That's how big an addition would be in adding Braden Montgomery. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of different things going around and that we're hearing right now, but I would love for him to be a Tiger. I'm not extremely confident that he becomes a Tiger. I think he stays in Mississippi. We'll find out. Some people may know more than us, but outside of that, that's really it when it comes to transfer portal news. I think Jay Johnson's still putting in a lot of work. There's still guys to be added potentially, but I think it's drawing near a close of who LSU is going to add for the baseball team.
I honestly think he's done. I think that's it. Honestly, I think Braden Montgomery is. My prediction is that he goes to Mississippi State, which is okay with me. I'd rather him go to Mississippi State than go to Ole Miss. That's where I think he's leaning. I think the other day Kendall Rogers even mentioned that he thinks it's a Mississippi State lean, and I tend to like what Kendall says to be true. It pretty typically holds to be true when Kendall's reporting it. So I think Braden Montgomery is bound to be a Bulldog. But I really think it's okay, guys. It's fine that Braden Montgomery goes to be Mississippi State, to be at a Mississippi, to go to Mississippi State. Excuse me. In terms of arm talent, Zach, we've added several guys, and it is deep. We are deep on the mound next year. You have a ton of returners. You've added now 4 transfer pitchers.
You've got more lefties than you do righties.
Yeah, you got a ton of left-handed pitching, and you added some freshmen that you did not think you were going to add in Cam Johnson, Jake Brown. So, it's a very exciting time for LSU baseball. I don't mean this as a knock on Paul Maneri whatsoever, but Jay Johnson just seems to have brought a youthfulness and a relentlessness and a tenacity that has not been there. And with LSU's resources at baseball, with the support that the baseball team has, it is unlimited what you could do at LSU. And when you pair it with a coach like Jay Johnson, you're tapping into some crazy. To be honest, I feel like we're headed more in a direction of Skip Bertman. As crazy as that sounds, I feel like LSU is headed towards that kind of caliber again, rather than regressing from that kind of caliber.
I don't disagree. So, I think LSU's definitely on the up and up, even after national championship.
Yeah, I like Jay Johnson. Zach is I don't remember off the top of my head. I think he's 45 years old, 44 years old. Dude has a lot of years left. A lot. Yeah. And I don't think he's going anywhere unless the New York Yankees call him. and I don't even know if he would leave for that. I think his place is college.
I don't think so.
I don't even think he would leave for that. So there is a lot of years left in Jay Johnson. And man, I love what I have seen from him. I think there's a relentless pursuit that Beloso was talking about, when he was on the show, that it's just a never ending drive to win and to be the best. And man, it's exciting to see that in him. And also he's young. So it makes me I thought about this the other day. My comparison for Jay Johnson, I don't think Kirby Smart is this young, but like he reminds me of like Kirby Smart because Kirby Smart is a relentless recruiter, relentless. He wants to go out and get the best of the best. He goes and pulls guys that you wouldn't expect him to pull, getting the best of the best, and like that's what Jay Johnson is doing, and he's doing it at a place that has every resource possible. So kind of my comparison there. That's kind of the mentality I feel like I get from Kirby Smart. I feel like I get that from Jay Johnson. So pretty excited for the future of LSU baseball. No doubt. But I think in terms of transfer portal, they're done. I think Braden Montgomery goes to Mississippi State. But, guys, we're good. We're going to be okay if Braden Montgomery doesn't come. I'm very pleased with where we're at. So, all right, Zach. Do we have any comments in here we need to address? And then we'll move forward to Bayou Splash.
Adam discussing the two NFL teams playing on Thursday night said they are both hot Duke. The guys from the Golden Boot are joining us. He said, "Gentlemen and Zach."
What's up? I mean, it's either Ann or Pooh Bear. Appreciate y'all joining in.
It's Pooh Bear for sure.
Pooh Bear. Appreciate you joining in.
Kevin said, as a kid, my dream was to attend LSU, but I didn't think I was college material, so I did the military army thing.
Appreciate your service, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Each his own.
Nothing wrong with that.
Reagan started off, going into the military. So
only a year. Didn't last very long, but
it didn't last very long.
But appreciate your service, Kevin. Really appreciate you joining in as well. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. I love the neon look. He's talking about the new
the new backdrop. Now.
Yeah, of course, Zach gets the credit for that. Obviously, Zach gets the credit for that. Adam was saying he wasn't talking about the Jets, the Browns.
Oh, on the State and Ole Miss, him going to potentially State or Ole Miss. Yeah. Again,
I would rather him go to State. In all honesty, I'd rather go to State than Ole Miss.
I think Adam's correct in both ways. Whether it's talking about the NFL Thursday night games or
he's correct
Greg Montgomery not doing it. It works.
Although I mean, if the Jets are playing, I'm curious to see if Aaron Rodgers will step out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I will watch that.
It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, there's football on. I'm going to watch it. So
for sure,
it's going to happen.
It's definitely gonna be on for me Thursday night as well.
What I'm also excited about is fantasy football. It's good, about to get going too. A little fantasy football.
I had a fun year last year.
I need to defend my title.
Unfortunately, I would have won a title last year, but everything happened with DeMar Hamlin, and that is literally what cost me the title. Literally.
That's true.
I was 30 points away. I was 30 points away in the championship game from winning, and
that's true.
I had to forfeit points from Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, and the Buffalo defense. I had all three of those.
Yeah.
And I had to sacrifice all three of those. Unfortunately, which I'm not really upset about it. I'm a little salty, but I mean, considering what happened, I'm not really upset. So it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. Jason Baker said, "Me too" with Hamlin.
Yeah,
I was 30. If I would have had 30 points, which Josh Allen probably would have put that up himself, honestly. But if I would have had 30 more points, I would have taken home the championship. But it's all good.
All good.
I'm coming for a title this year. So
football,
it's fun.
I have back-to-back titles, so I am looking to defend and go for a three-peat.
Well, Big Brother's joining the league now, so
you were in the league last year.
I was not in the league last year.
In our league, you were.
I was not. The only league I was in last year was the JetX league. My work.
That's right. You're right. The
only league I was in, and I played Phillip for the championship and lost because three of my point givers were unable to give me points. Not for obviously the Hamlin reason. But anyways, let's move on to the Bayou Splash. We've talked enough.
I love fantasy football.
We've talked.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Bayou Splash, though, Zach.
We've got to talk Bayou Splash.
I mean, man, I love the Bayou Splash. Hey, look, the Bayou Splash is a huge recruiting event. every school does a big recruiting event. This is LSU's big recruiting event that they do every summer. Well, the last 2 summers now is the BK Bayou Splash. And look, if you're not winning when you are doing a recruiting event like this, then you just suck. I mean, let's be real. You're just not a good team. When you throw out an event like this and it doesn't go well, there's a problem. Because here's the deal with the BK Bayou Splash. I mean, you open up the big LSU pool for all these top recruits to come swim in. I mean, you're booking them hotels, you're booking flights for them to come. I mean, you're rolling out the red carpet for all of them, and you're buying them food and pulling out the whole spread. I mean, you're doing everything. So if it doesn't go well, there's something else going wrong. So this tends to go well every year. Yeah. But the good thing is, I think they do this at a really great time. I think they plan this event really timely because it is in this period where we were talking about when things are really kind of tending to heat up. And there are always some recruits, a lot of recruits, that will want to kind of have a decision made and kind of a commitment done before they get into their senior year of football. Like, so they can just focus on football and finishing their senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And then come signing day, they'll sign. So timeline-wise, it works out so well. And, man, LSU in the last 2 seasons has seemed to make a great push in the month of July for all of the recruits that they want. And then they capitalize on it with this recruiting event, the BK Bayou Splash. And it was no different this year. It was phenomenal. It was successful. It seems like there is a lot of rumblings coming out of this event. Lots of good things have happened, and some commitments have already kind of transpired, and a flip as well. So, Zach, it was a success. I mean, that's about all you can say for it. But we can talk about, like, specifically some recruits, that were present. I mean, Zach, what were some of the recruits that we were looking for that you wanted to be involved at this event, and kind of looking to see, can we get a commitment from them, and can we capitalize while we're here? What were some of those top recruits we were looking at?
I think for me, it definitely was Colin Simmons and
obviously
Caden Durham, Wardell Mack as well. So, Reagan, if you'll let me real quickly, let's run through it. There's a lot.
Oh, it's a huge list. Yeah.
Very, very quickly. All right. Ahmed Bro, commit. If I say commit, they are currently already committed to LSU. Ahmed Bro, commit. Demarion Johnson, commit. Joel Rogers, commit. Jawan Johnson, commit. Davon Keys, commit. Aaron Burrell, commit. Kyrie Lee, commit. Wallace Foster, commit. Tredez Green, commit. Kalaj Cobbins, commit. Kylan Billett, commit. Michael Turner, commit. Joshua Lair, who is currently projected to go to Texas. He was also there, 2024. Devin Smith, Tylen Singleton, which Tylen Singleton obviously
just recently committed. Yep,
is recently committed. Dominic McKinley, that's another big name to mention.
Yes.
Currently a LSU lean. I didn't mention him. Colin Simmons, as I mentioned, Caden Durham, the DeVille boys out of Texas. Those guys are massive. Yeah. Obviously, you want to get Wardell Mack. He's currently per on 3 a lean to LSU. Blake Ivy, Jalen Bell, Russell Babineau, Kevin Otis, Javion Hilson, Micah DeBow, Andrew Marsh, Harlan Berry. I definitely was very, very excited to see Harlan Berry make his way to the Bayou Splash. Obviously, for me, he is probably the biggest get for LSU in the 2025 class. So to have him on campus there for that was phenomenal. Jabari Antoine, DeCorian Moore, Ja'Cory Watson, Lamar Brown, Jalen Chapman, Isaiah Williams. So that is, I think, the end of the list. There probably was more that I'm missing. That's just the list that I saw from online. But massive targets. Obviously, with Wardell Mack, Colin Simmons, Harlan Berry, Caden Durham, like, those are the names you're looking at right now.
Did you mention Bryce Underwood?
Bryce Underwood, yes. I guess he wasn't on that list. That may have been an earlier list. Bryce Underwood, the top
Bryce
quarterback,
Underwood,
the top quarterback in the 2025 class, correct, Reagan? Or is it
arguably the top player. He is the top quarterback.
2024?
Arguably, no, he's 25.
2025. Okay, that's correct. So he's out of the 2025 class. He is arguably, as Reagan said, the top player in the class. He is the number one quarterback in the class.
Yeah, and Wardell Mack did not make it, by the way. He
Wardell
did not
Mack
make it.
Did not. Okay, so that must have been an earlier list that I was looking at.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about Wardell Mack after the Kai Bates commit. I'm kind of curious as to see if he'll actually make it to LSU. But
yeah,
you don't wait around for Wardell Mack to commit when a guy like Kai Bates is ready to commit. So I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Anyways,
so some questions were kind of answered. Some assumptions were made from this weekend, and some good, some bad. So obviously that was kind of one of the more, not as good with the Wardell Mack.
I would say that, that's the only negative. It's the only negative from the weekend.
But the biggest thing for me this weekend was, you already picked up a couple commits from the two offensive linemen, Ori Williams and Joseph Cryer. Joseph Cryer. Some big bullies up front. Those are guys that you needed. I mean, you're going to continue to recruit the offensive line. I mean, it's BK. He's going to do what he wants to do, obviously, up front with the big bullies. So that was massive to get those guys. But, I mean, we're really just waiting to see the two Texas guys. Those are the guys that I am really, really wanting. I think both of them are leans towards LSU. I would say Caden Durham is more so, probably going to end up a Tiger. With Colin Simmons, you gotta worry about Texas. Texas has made a massive push on him. Seems like it's an LSU Texas battle. We did see that Caden Durham released his final three the other day. We thought maybe we'd get an announcement yesterday at 3:00. We did not. It was a final three between Oklahoma, LSU, and remind me, Reagan, the other team. I'm going blank.
A&M.
So.
It's really down between LSU and A&M.
It's really down between
Oklahoma
and A&M. Oklahoma's in there as well. So we'll find out, hopefully here soon, the decision between both of those guys. But I really like LSU's chances. And if you land both those guys, I mean, you are going to be wrapping up a phenomenal class.
Oh, absolutely. Look, here's the deal. Caden Durham, I think, is going to be a Tiger. I mean, because I think Frank Wilson has gone all in on him.
For sure.
I mean, he is all in on Caden Durham, and I think Caden recognizes that. And also, LSU has not got a running back this class yet. Caden Durham would be the sole running back in this class as of right now.
Because you don't need anymore.
you don't need any more. And also, you have two running backs in the state of Louisiana next year that are very good, and Harlan Berry and James Simon. Both of them are like top 100 players in the country, and Harlan Berry is going to be arguably the best running back in the nation. So Caden Durham is the sole running back, I think, for this class, and I think Frank Wilson is all in on getting him. And Oklahoma has already added Taylor Tatum, who's pretty highly recruited running back as well. So in terms of, that, LSU's like all in on him, so I think we land him. Colin Simmons, I don't know, just with the Bayou Splash, with the with all of the things with Caden Durham, it feels like there's a great chance that LSU could land him. I mean, from all indications, LSU is willing and ready to match and go above what Texas is willing to do, like with anything Colin wants. I mean, discussions of playtime, NIL, like all of that. LSU is ready to match absolutely anything that Texas offers. And look, I mean, you went and got a guy out of Texas last year, and it worked out really stinking well for him in Harold Perkins. So LSU has a long history of getting some phenomenal defensive players out of Texas. I mean, to name another, Jamal Adams. So I like where LSU stands with Colin Simmons. I mean, it really is down to LSU and Texas, and with Caden Durham, it's down to LSU and Oklahoma. And I really like LSU's chances to land both of them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Colin went to Texas, but LSU is all in. I mean, they are all in. They did the whole, media hashtag thing where all the players were putting out Colin Baton Rouge, which I think was awesome.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, literally after the Bayou Splash weekend, Colin personally on his own Twitter page posted a picture of him and in his LSU uniform from his photos and put hashtag the BK effect. So it's like, man, you really like where you're at right now with Colin, and man, he is an elite talent. And man, dude, I'm just I mean, you added Harold Perkins the year before, and he was phenomenal last year. You added Deshaun Womack. He's going to be a freshman this year, and he's a 5-star edge that's going to be a freak in his time at LSU. And then if you add Colin Simmons, like, man, Brian Kelly has been killing it with like elite defensive players and pass rushers. I mean, been killing it. So if you land Colin, it's huge. But Bryce Underwood was one of the things that really caught my attention. This guy,
late addition.
Yeah, he was a late addition to the BK Bayou Splash. He's a 2025 recruit. But here's the deal: the dude's from Michigan, Zach, and he's made his way to LSU like 3 times in the last 4 months, and he's had like 4 visits, and the last 2 of them have been like LSU, and some of them were like unofficial. So like he paid his own way to come to LSU. So, and Bryce Underwood's family made it to the BK Bayou Splash. So, man, that is a great. I mean, it is a great look into the 2025 class for. I mean, arguably the best player in the country with Bryce Underwood. I mean, great start by the staff for him. And man, if you were able to come next year, land him, I mean, that would be amazing. It'd be amazing. So this class, Zach, I don't know if this class is not going to be top 5. I think this class is going to be top 10. But here's the reality. Number one, I don't really think recruiting rankings matter. Recruiting matters. Don't get me wrong. Recruiting absolutely matters. I don't know if recruiting rankings always matter because kind of the whole ranking systems they're not 100%, and ESPN has a player ranked something and 247 has them ranked something else, and On 3 has them ranked something else. So
let's not forget that Justin Jefferson was a 2-star.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's completely subjective. It's completely subjective. This class, I think, is full of some really phenomenal talent that is a little bit overlooked. I mean, I'm thinking of guys like Billiot, our receiver, Kylan Billiot.
Yeah.
Who he's a 4-star. He's a 4-star. So I don't know if overlooked is the best word, but like he's not like a hot commodity receiver. But then you go turn the tape on, and the dude has a freakish catch radius. I mean, he is like really stinking good. So this class, I don't think it's going to be like top 5, but I think I really am liking the way this class is playing out. Another really important thing, Zach, that in previous coaching staffs had been a continual problem that Brian Kelly has completely changed is the offensive line.
Yep.
Before Brian Kelly, the previous 2 recruiting classes, the one before Brian Kelly came, you got 2 offensive linemen. That is unacceptable. You only got 2. And the one before that, you got 3. Unacceptable. 5 offensive linemen in 2 recruiting classes is unacceptable.
Yeah,
I mean, that cannot happen.
That's why you've had depth issues in the past.
Absolutely. It is absolutely. And Brian Kelly, he has consistently put great offensive linemen into the NFL at Notre Dame, and he is going to do the same thing here at LSU. I mean, last year you got 4. This year you have right now 4 committed. And you also got the transfer in Mason Lunsford, so you could count that as like a 5th.
Yeah.
And then you also go back to like when he was only recruiting for like a month, and he was able to land Emory Jones and Will Campbell. So and he went and got some transfers in like Miles Frazier and what was the other one? I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, but he is doing a phenomenal job at the offensive line. It is what you need. It is absolutely what you need. Ori Williams is another guy out of Texas who is one of those guys I feel like is being overlooked. He's only a 3-star, but you turn the tape on and he's like a phenomenal player. I mean, great offensive tackle, great size, great footwork. Big Hoss, you just got him to decommit from Ole Miss and commit to you. You flipped him. Tremont Short was the other. That is the other one I was thinking of. Thank you, RP. So that is something that LSU had struggled with, and it's something that LSU struggled with like since Les Miles. I mean, it had been unacceptable. I mean, we would in 2015 is the great example. Oh. I mean, you had Leonard Fournette and you had like national championship
you couldn't get
written all over it, and you go to Alabama and you get absolutely curb stomped. Leonard Fournette was a zero impact on that game. Zero impact. I mean, a Heisman caliber running back, and he had zero impact on the game because your offensive line was trash. Brian Kelly is doing a phenomenal job on the offensive line in terms of depth and talent. And he is setting the foundations for this program to be consistently good for a long time. And that's another great thing that is coming out of the Bayou Splash, and that is coming out of Brian Kelly's tenure so far.
Yeah.
Zach, do you have anything else with the Bayou Splash? I mean, anything else that caught your attention that you like?
I mean, something to mention that, outside of recruiting, outside of when you think about it, like you're getting a bunch of teenage guys together to hang out and have fun. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're playing games, they're swimming, like you're doing a massive, massive party at LSU where you want these kids to be. They're around their peers, they're around athletes that they have known growing up, that they've played against, that they've played with. And when you're able to do that and you're able to just have, these bonding moments with these players, not only just the coaches and the players bonding with each other, but the players, bonding with each other as well. Players that aren't on the same team in high school, you may have one player that has committed to LSU and one player that's kind of a lean to LSU, or maybe a player that never considered LSU. And now, they're questioning, oh, well, maybe LSU's a place I need to look at. Or
they also get to talk to current LSU players.
Exactly. We felt, we think recruiting, which a lot of this Bayou, there's a lot that goes into this Bayou Splash outside of just them recruiting these players. Because there's other things that are doing the recruiting as well, not just the coaches, not just them being on campus, but the players that are on campus, current LSU players, but players that are not committed to LSU, players that are committed to LSU and haven't made their way to LSU yet. Like all that, it becomes a factor in something when you do something like this. And so it is a phenomenal job by Brian Kelly and his staff to come up with this the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a staple in the LSU program as long as Brian Kelly is here. It's going to be something that they do every single year to try and draw in recruiting. And when you see the list and you see the names that are being brought to this event, I mean, it's massive. And it's only going to get better and better as they continue to tweak it and continue to make it better. So overall, just a really, really great event to be able to host for LSU to make a push in recruiting.
And another thing I think they do better because look, like I said earlier, all teams have recruiting events like this. But one thing that I feel like LSU has done a lot better about in the last 2 seasons with Brian Kelly is the social media push for it. I mean, like I don't know personally if I have seen as much like publicity and attention for a recruiting event as I've seen for the BK Bayou Splash. Like I feel like the media team and getting all the players involved in it, like posting it and resharing it, like and of course big shows like Mic'd Up and, of course, AYS, and like everybody's talking about the BK Bayou Splash on social media. Like I feel like in terms of social media, they've done a lot better than other teams promoting their recruiting event as well. So it's like a thing that everybody's hearing about all the time. And these recruits, of course, have grown up having social media. So obviously that's going to catch their attention as well. So, all right, guys, that's all kind of we got here on the BK Bayou Splash. We need to hit a quick break before we transition here to the special teams preview. Looking forward to talking about our first group position, and we'll do it right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, guys, we're back. Let's get a few comments before we make our transition and start discussing the special teams. Doug Knows is in here. So what's good, fellas? What's good, Doug? I'm assuming that's his real name. I can't really tell. I'm assuming.
I don't know, but the profile pic makes it. I don't care what his name is.
Every time I see it, whether it's on here or on AYS, I'm like, dude, this is just phenomenal. Just I don't know if he made it or if he found it online. Doug, maybe you can tell us that. What's your real name, Doug? I mean, you may not want to tell us. That's fine if you don't. And where did you find this phenomenal profile picture?
Oh God, I love it. Jim
RP said Underwood came on his parents' anniversary last weekend too. Wow,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Xavier Atkins was from the Bayou Bash. So
look, that's one thing I meant to mention. Yeah, Xavier Atkins is not going to be an LSU Tiger.
He's a commit right now, but
he is a commit, but he will not be an LSU Tiger, which is crazy. But he won't be. What's crazy to me is he's from Louisiana, and as soon as LSU offered him, dude, he was all over it, and he committed. I mean, like he was like thrilled. I mean, he was through the moon. He was on like I remember like as soon as he committed, like he was like on Instagram Live. He was hyping it up. He's trying to get everybody to be an LSU Tiger. And then he transfers to a school in Texas because I mean, look, Texas high school football, more publicity. Louisiana high school football is nothing to joke about, but Texas obviously high school football is a little different world. And so he's there to get some more publicity, maybe up his recruiting, and like it's like LSU is like kind of been non-existent now. But anyways, I was excited for him, but he's not going to end up being a Tiger. In fact, I don't quote me on this, but I think that his scholarship offer was removed as well. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Adkins cut.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a decommitment from him very soon. But it is what it is.
We'll find out. All right, Reagan, let's get into it. Special teams. So, I mean, I understand like it's special teams, and everybody's like, it's special teams, like whatever.
No, bro. And after last year, it's
the first one, but yeah, Reagan. I mean, this is massive. Like to discuss this is massive. Previewing, like we went into last year going like it could be a weakness because there's like everything was brand new, right? Like. Yeah. You had to have a new kicker. You had lost Cade York. You had a new punter. You had lost Zach Van Rosenberg. I mean, you were just redoing everything, right? I mean, everything was brand new for the special teams unit, and you had a new coach. I mean, it was just a complete overhaul. And there were some pieces that you liked, but ultimately, it was a concern. It was a concern, and ultimately, that became true throughout this season. I mean, you think about the Florida State game, you think about the Tennessee game, and I mean, there's mistakes in those games that were on special teams.
Every game
that cost LSU the game. There was mistakes. It seemed like every game that hurt LSU. A lot of
formation. Can't catch it. Everything. Penalties.
Coverage. Everything. It was bad. And a lot of people called for Brian Polian's head. And we weren't saying, hey, like fire him, because he did a really good job at being a recruiting coordinator. But ultimately there was a demotion, and then he moves on himself.
Yeah.
So, you no longer have Brian Polian. Josh Dancic, who was an analyst, gets promoted. Obviously, he was the former defensive coordinator at Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah.
Was an analyst last year on the team. He gets promoted to special teams coordinator. Let's see what happens. I mean, that's one of his positions, right?
Yeah.
It's not like his sole title, but it's one of his jobs as a coach here on staff. So it'll be interesting to see, how he plays into this, how he does as a coach and leading this unit. But let's talk kind of the positions, the key positions, obviously in this unit. Let's start with kicker. I mean, obviously that's the biggest part of the special teams is kicker. They play the most important, most major role in the unit because they are the point getters, right? And they're the only point getters in this unit. So obviously Damian Ramos took sole position of starting kicker last year, and I gotta be honest, Reagan did a good job. I mean, for what LSU special teams was last year. I mean, Damian Ramos had some really key moments. I mean, he is not going to be, he's not Cade York, right? Let's just be blunt. Like, he's not out here and it's 50 plus, and you're going, oh man, like we're good. Like it's 50 plus, no biggie, right? Like when he gets in that 40 plus range, you're going, but like inside 40, pretty solid, really solid kicker. He had some key moments for you. I mean, you think about the Florida game, you think about some other games that were massive.
There was one moment though. There was one moment that you really needed him to kick. I can't remember which game it was, but man, you really needed him to kick a field goal, and it was like 46 yards, and he nailed it. I can't remember which game it was, but that was one moment where I was like, that was great. That was great. I can't remember which one it was though. Maybe somebody in the comments.
Probably, who knows? I mean, you think about. What was did we have to kick field goals?
I wanted to say it was in Bama.
In the Bama game, we had to kick a couple of crucial field goals.
Yeah. In the Bama game, I want to say it was in the Bama game.
I mean, he kicked a field goal to go up. What was it? 17 to something. 17 to I can't remember exactly. 17 to 16 or something like that. I mean, he made some big field goals this past year. So he is going to be the guy. He is going to be the guy. Now we'll be interested to see, does he hold on to that the entire year? I think so. It depends on how I mean, we've seen in the offseason too, there's been some social media posts by him of him like kicking 60 yarders, right? Yeah. Now, of course, that's like teed up, it's in practice, it's not, it's not in the heat of battle, right? In the nervousness of a moment in a packed stadium, against another team that's
there's no snap, hold, spin,
yeah. No, I mean, but great to see him kicking, from that distance and nailing field goals. But I'm not super worried about. I'm not super worried about Damian. But if you have to kick some long field goals and you're playing some tight games, which I mean, obviously I think LSU will this year. And your offense stalls out like right after they get past the 50, once they get into, 30, 40 area, like, and you got to kick some long field goals, then I start to get nervous, right? Then I start to get a little nervous. So anyway, what's your thought, Reagan, on kicker, on Damian, or I mean, is there another guy you see maybe potentially emerge, maybe take the spot this year? I don't think so. But.
I mean, Ramos, like we talked about, he was pretty solid last year. And I think he is the guy who starts, and we'll see if that carries on. I mean, Nathan Dibert, I think, could be a guy who could potentially get some looks.
And he's going to be a kickoff specialist.
Yeah, right. And so I don't know. Maybe we'll see Dibert in the kicker role. But I think right now it's Ramos, and honestly, I think it's about the same as last year. maybe there's been some improvement, like on his leg strength from strengthening and conditioning. Maybe he's got some more distance in him. But I definitely think that it's going to be Ramos for. I think he'll take it and he'll run with it. Honestly, I think Divert's going to be your place kicker, like you were talking about. So I think it's Ramos' job, and I think it's his to lose, if anything. So
correct. Now, where I am most confident, I think you would agree with this, is obviously at punter. Jay Bramlett is a fifth-year guy, sixth-year guy now. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
veteran.
I think he's a super senior. He did phenomenal last year. He really was, honestly, probably the strength of the special teams.
Absolutely.
I mean, Damian held his own, but probably the strength of the special teams. I think I remember one punt that Jay, kind of shanked a little bit and wasn't great. But overall, Jay Bramlett, I mean, he is a guy that he could change games because he can reverse field position. He's going to be able to pin teams deep into their own territory. I mean, he can play a major role in some of these games that you're going to be playing in, and some of these tight ball games you're going to be playing in. The biggest thing for me on punting is the punt coverage. There was some times when the punt coverage was not great. So can you adjust? Can you fix some of those things? Outside of that, I think punt coverage is going to be great. Now, the biggest question, Reagan, I'll let you kind of lead this off, is on the flip side of that, whenever LSU is receiving a punt, who's going to be that guy that gets it? We saw Michael Clayton kind of emerge. I mean, really, and it was just because, like, he can catch the ball.
He can catch the ball.
like last year.
He goes up there, throws a fair catch, and catches it.
Last year was like butt cheeks clenched, like close your eyes, curl up in a ball on the ground, and pray to the Lord.
Please catch
that
it.
They
Please
catch the punt, right? And I mean, I remember one game. I can't remember what game it was. It was later on in the season. That I would leave the room, like I'd leave, and I'd ask Dad, like, did they catch it? He'd be like, yes. Or I'd like close my eyes and I'd just wait to hear the TV, like, nothing bad happen.
Yeah.
Like, look, seriously, that's how it was for me last year. In a few moments. So, the biggest question this year is, who do you stick back there? Michael Gregory Clayton was the guy that just they put back there out of the necessity of finding somebody that could catch the ball.
Right.
We've heard a lot of things about Aaron Anderson. Reagan, what's your take on who's going to be their punt returner this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a problem last year, but I think it could potentially be, I mean, a great threat this year in terms of a threat for the opponent, not for us.
Yeah.
In Aaron Anderson. I mean, Aaron Anderson in high school was an amazing returner. And he was doing really well at Alabama before his injury. He transfers to LSU, and I think he'd be an immediate impact player on special teams. Lightning speed. I think we won't have any problems with him catching it. He's very used to doing it. It's something that he's done for a long time. It's not like Malik Neighbors, who we put out there game one because of his ability to make plays, but he wasn't used to catching punts. Like, it's not something he's normally used to doing. With Aaron Anderson, I think it's something he's always done, and it's something that he's really good at. And I think it could really be a benefit for this team, or a game changer for this team, compared to last year when it was just like you were just saying, like you were just begging that they would just catch him, and that's all that Clayton was. But I do think Aaron Anderson is your returner. I think he's potentially your returner on both punt returns and kickoff. I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
I think punt return might be maybe a little bit of a question because Michael was there last year and he did such a great job last year.
Yeah.
If there's some issues with the punt coverage and the defense is getting down there, and beating out our punt coverage, you might want somebody that's more sure-handed. Like, I don't know. But I have to agree. I think Aaron Anderson is going to be the highlight, and that's why we had him in our thumbnail. Right. I think he's going to be the highlight of the punt returns and the kick returns. Next to him on the kick returns, I think you're going to see Noah Kane again. I mean, he was very solid last year. I mean, why would you change it out? The biggest question for me, though, is do we see Chris Hilton get some action back either at kick return or punt return? I mean, we talked about it last year. It was talked a lot about last year about him potentially being the guy. Of course, he ultimately had the injury, didn't really play much last season at all. I don't think he played at all last season, did he? I think he played a little bit. But he was hampered. He was hampered last year by an injury. So, you don't want to put him out there on the punt return or kick return. So, do we see him get action? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I like to see Noah Kane be back there as well. I think he did a solid job, and I think he could take care of business with Aaron Anderson, with Aaron Anderson kind of being the head guy there.
I think, obviously the biggest problems with last year was, catching the football on punt returns. But I think the second biggest problem was the coverage on kickoff and punt return.
Oh, yeah.
So you have got to be better on coverage. So this year, I definitely want to see an improvement catching the football on punt returns and on kick coverage with punts and kickoffs. I mean, and that's when, like with the kickoff, you just hope that Dybert Nathan, which he did a pretty good job at this last year. I mean, he wasn't perfect. He kind of started slow, and then near the end of the year, he got a lot better at doing this. But just kick it out the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
If you're kicking it out the back of the end zone, you never have to worry about. And that's what Xavier Atkins, or not Xavier Atkins. I'm going blank. What's his name? Adkins. It was Adkins.
Yeah, Atkins. Avery Atkins.
Avery. That's what Avery was so good at, man. I mean, it was like a sure thing. Like, he's going to boot it out the back of the end zone. Like, and you hope to see that because, I mean, Nathan, I don't know if you've seen Nathan, but, I mean, he's like a stocky. I mean, he's got massive thighs, paws. I mean, he's a big dude. Like, he's stocky. Like, he's built. And so, like, I would love to, I mean, he should be able to have the ability to kick that thing out of there. So, kick the thing out the back of the end zone. Let's get some
consistency. That's all I want.
There.
That's all I want.
That's all I want to see. Is there anything else, Reagan, you got on the special teams?
I mean, I think long snapper Slade Roy. I mean, obviously. he was solid all year long last year. I mean, he caused you no problems. I think he did a great job, and I think he could be another strength to your special teams. Him and Jay, I think were phenomenal last year, and I think we see the same again this year. So, and he got that return or the muff punt against Mississippi State again. Maybe he can pull that off again this year. So, but yeah, I like Slade Roy a lot. Maybe we can get him back on the show again. We had him on last year.
See, it was my fault. It was my fault. He has told us that he's wanted to come back on the show, and I didn't think about it. I honestly, we didn't really. Me and you didn't communicate great during our time off about which position group we're going to start with. Because whenever I created the show, I was like quarterbacks. So I was like, we'll just do that one first, whatever. And then you text me today, and you're like, hey, we're doing the special teams. I'm like, oh crap, let me go change this real quick.
Well, that's what we did first last year, so I just figured.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, I'm not going to blame you, but I should have been more prepared and probably communicated better on, hey, what we're doing, because we would like to try and get some players that are in these position groups on for our show. So we're gonna be attempting to do that, guys. Obviously, they're super busy right now as they're prepping for football season. Yeah. So it may be difficult to do that, but we're gonna try our best to get some guys on, some current players on who are in these position groups as we go through and break down these position groups for this upcoming year. Would you say that special teams is the biggest concern?
No, I really don't think. I don't think special teams is going to be a concern this year. I really don't. The way Brian Kelly has described it is that it's kind of an all hands on deck thing. Yannick is kind of your guy, the point man on it, right? The one who got promoted to that title as special teams coordinator. But he said really everybody's going to be participating in special teams. So I think it's going to be well prepared I think Brian Kelly is going to be very prepared in terms of special teams, like what's going to be taken care of and who's going to be where and coverage. And I think there's been a lot more eyes on special teams this year, and it's not going to be a problem. I really don't foresee what happened last year happening again, because I don't think Brian Kelly is going to allow it to happen again like that.
I mean, I don't think the special teams unit is going to like wow you. You know, it's not like
Right.
2011 when Tyrann Mathieu was back there. You know,
Right.
And you're like, hey, he could break one. Now, I mean, maybe Aaron Anderson does that. Maybe we'll see. Maybe it becomes that, but I definitely think it's going to be a major step up. I mean, I don't think you're going to have issues with, you know, like point after attempt coverage, right? Point after attempt blocking like you did in the first game last year, which was just absolutely brutal. Just absolutely cannot happen. Right?
It won't happen. I don't think it's going to happen again.
I don't think that happens.
I won't say I won't. I won't say it won't.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they're taking care of business. Definitely.
Yeah, knock on wood. I mean, you may shank one every now and then, but I mean, hopefully, they do a lot better job this year at protection. I think protection is just the biggest thing this year, man. Yeah. It might be more of a need than catching. I mean, you want to catch the ball in punt returns, but I feel like that. I don't know, between catching the football on special teams and coverage, those two were really bad. Yeah. So it's between those two on which one you really want to see kind of get fixed.
Yeah, the average return for our opponents was absurd. Like, it was just absurd. So, anyways. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all listening in. We're going to hit one last final break, and we'll come back right after this to wrap things up.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Guys, right back here to wrap things up. Last few comments here. FSU won't be playing the same team this go round. HP4 and MS0 on the field is going to be an issue. I agree. Last year we didn't even have Harold Perkins full go for the Florida State game. He wasn't even starter, didn't play that major role. Mason Smith obviously got hurt. Pretty excited about maybe some revenge there. And obviously Jaden Daniels brand new to the system, and that was very obvious game one. So I think we're going to be well prepared for the Florida State game. I think it's going to be a completely different game. RP Xavier all A&M now since he's moved to Shadow Creek. Yeah, A&M has kind of roped him in. And I think that's ultimately where he will land. I don't think he'll be a Tiger at all. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. Appreciate you guys joining in, all your comments and your input on the special teams. We're going to be obviously having another show this week, so be looking out for when that is, and we'll be covering another position group and previewing that group. So we will see you then in the next show. We'll let you know when that is. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.